What's up YouTube, Sacred True Lane here, and we're coming back again with another Dan Heng video. This one might be a bit controversial. Today we're going to be talking about how people are building Dan Heng incorrectly. I'm going to be actually talking about all of the YouTube videos which pretty much produce the exact same builds for Dan Heng. I'm going to talk about why these builds are wrong, and I'm going to kind of show the build that I feel is the most efficient, and I'm going to talk about why. So I'll catch you guys in a few minutes. What's up everybody, welcome back to Secret True Lane here. It's currently 1 in the morning, so I don't have the camera on, but we're going to be talking about the Dan Heng builds, and I'm going to be going off why I feel those builds are actually inefficient and don't work at his full potential. So before we go in this, I'm going to talk about the typical build they have for Dan Heng. Usually Dan Heng, a buffer, a debuffer, and a healer. Now, something about Dan Heng, we're first going to talk about the team builds in general. I don't feel Dan Heng is going to benefit the best from a debuffer. I feel the best Nihility he could actually benefit from would be actually Welt, but Welt is only applying slow. The reason why is because he would at least apply a debuff to everybody. The problem with Silverwolf is she's too random. Now if you're running a team with Silverwolf and then 3 imaginaries, and the boss already has Quantum on it, you're more than likely going to get the debuff you need to get that extra crit damage of 24%. But again, there is a better run. So let's go ahead and talk about the main units that are Nihility that people talk about. The first one I'm going to go on is the free-to-play option, Pela. So, I don't use Pela, as you can tell here, but the biggest thing for Pela is that her ultimate inflicts a defense down. However, here is the problem. It's on her ultimate. Nothing else is going to actually reduce their defenses. So it really doesn't make sense to run her when you have to use her ultimate to get the debuff on that you would need for Dan Heng. This means that this 32% defense down, which is, of course can be higher when you buff it up, is only going to be active after you use her ultimate. And you're going to have to be able to get her ultimate up pretty quickly to get it off again. This means that you may or may not have a 100% base chance on it. And I kind of feel like Pela and another character kind of fall into the trap of Bend, which I'm going to go in a bit when I get to that other character. The next character is Silverwolf. Now Silverwolf is a great Nihility unit. The fact that she can give, different debuffs depending on her attack is absolutely amazing. But the problem is that she's only going to give one of them. And if she gives the attack down or the speed down, you're not really getting that defense down, which is what people are going to want with her. Now, you can fix this if you have other things such as you have a breakup and whatnot, but you can apply more than one buff at one time. Debuff at one time. But still, you're still dealing with RNG on her. Her ultimate, of course, is always going to reduce one character's defense. But that's the thing, one character's defense. So she's going to do well on single target fights, but a lot of your bigger fights are not single target. The simulated universe, as well as the Forgotten Hallway, usually have ads alongside the boss. So realistically, this is not as efficient as you would think it is. The only benefit that she really would have is the fact that she can, give them imaginary weakness, but again, it can't. The only way to get a 100% chance of that is if she's the only quantum unit, everyone else is imaginary, and you are going against an enemy that has quantum. If the enemy does not have quantum or imaginary, it's a 50-50 with that team build. Add in any other element like Bronya, who is your wind area, now you've got a, you have a 30-60 chance. So if you don't have any of those elements on. So she has RNG connected to her, which is kind of a pain. Her, of course, this is really good because you get the Aether Cone, which does make them take increased damage for one turn. If you have her Light Cone, she could be a little bit more useful, but again, she's only going to do single target. Now, I do feel that for Dan Heng, Wilt is going to be the best, depending on what you're running. The main reason why is because he can slow multiple units, so with his skill, so you can have, get those nerfs, those debuffs on pretty early on. The slow lasts for, I think, two turns? Yeah, 2 turns. So, I mean, like, that nerf is going to last for 2 turns, and you can pretty much get it every other turn on him, which is really useful. And then the biggest thing is his imprisonment. But we still then have to talk about the issue of the fact that his big buff you're going to want is imprisonment, which is going to be an issue because anytime something is tied to an ultimate, you're not getting the most efficient out of it. So looking at the 3 debuffers, the reason I think people are talking about wanting them, but I feel they're not effective, is because we're going to take a look at Dan Heng right now. So if we take a look at Dan Heng's traits, the only thing that is going to affect his damage is going to be if they have a weakness to imaginary. So that is the big one, right? If they have a weakness to imaginary, then he's going to get 20% crit damage. If you've seen Dan Heng's damage already, that doesn't actually matter though, because what we're going to be talking about is actually going to be an even higher buff than that with the team build we're going with. The second thing is that when you take a look at his relic set, right? People are running the 4-piece relic for the crit rate plus 10%. Now, you have to have a minimum of 70% crit rate on him anyways for the current chain and orb. There's no reason to have more than 70% crit rate. So that 10% crit rate you're getting when your enemy is debuffed is actually wasted. It's not that, it's wasted if you think about it. And you have to have the imprisonment to get the 20% crit damage. The other thing is that if you're running the set that I'm currently running, you can actually get that crit damage kind of, up there. So, for example, if you're running Welt, you have to run an effect hit rate set. That's his ideal set. If you're running, same thing if you're running almost any Nihility, you're going to be running an effect hit rate to get those debuffs on. This is going to remove, I think, one of the best support chains in the game, and that's what we're going to be talking about now. So the first thing about this video that I'm going on that I think people are building wrong is throwing a Nihility unit on his team. I don't think he's going to actually benefit from a Nihility. Second is the relic set. Now, ideally, if the unit is imprisoned, yes, this 4-piece is going to be best. The problem is, imprisonment is not very common, and if you're already going against a character that has an imaginary weakness that he can imprison, you really don't need that extra crit damage. He's already going to destroy them. So not really necessary. If you think about it, this damage is not necessary because the only time you're really going to get it is either under Welt's ultimate or when he can break them. In that case, he's already going to be doing massive damage to them anyways. So the 4-piece in this case, honestly, I really feel is not ideal for Dan Heng. It's overkill on the enemies that don't need it, and for the enemies that would more need it, you're losing damage. So I personally feel that the 2-piece is going to be better. This attack plus 12% is going to be constant. It's not going to fall off. You're going to have that 12% damage constant. And again, that 10% crit rate we don't need. We're going to have 70% base anyways. You don't need that 10%. So this right here, I feel, is the best set. 2-piece and the 2-piece of the Route to Land Arena. Now, because we don't worry about having to worry about the imprisonment, which again, only if you can break them and only if Welt has his ultimate up. How much does Welt's ultimate actually cost, by the way? Let's take a look at that. And yeah, his ultimate isn't even in the cheap range. It's still pretty high. It's 120 is pretty high. I mean, like, it is not the lowest. 130, like, Dan Heng's is 140. What is Blade at? 130. 110, so that's much better. Baronya's is 120. Zayla's is, I think, 110. Yeah, 120. So the thing is that, there are things that can help Welt. I mean, for example, I think it's, what is it? He gets 10 energy when he uses the ultimate, which is going to be helpful. Let's see. His Eidolon, I think, yeah. When his talent triggers, he gets 3 energy. So I mean, like, you can get ways to help him, but I don't really. Again, I don't feel like he is going to be able to give the constant damage buff you want, and you still need to run the effect rate. So you're getting on his set, right? You'd be running this relic set for 20% crit damage. But if you actually switch Welt out and throw in 2 buffers, you're already just cutting that in half to only a 10% crit damage buff. Because if you're running supports and healers, you can run this set piece, the Broken Keel, which is a 10% crit damage and gives him effect resistance. So, with that said, let's actually go into the team that I'm currently running. And I'm going to explain this team and why I'm running it. So the team that I run with Dan Heng is Yukong, Bronya, and Lucha. Now, Lucha is the best healer in the game. That's why I'm running him. No need to understand. But let's actually take a look at these characters specifically. We'll start with Bronya because she's easy. Bronya has the amazing ability to give a crap ton of crit damage. Mine, I think, is around 60%, as well as a damage boost, as well as a damage boost just for existing, and as well, if you have her light cone, which I do, another damage boost, right? So she's giving just damage boost, damage boost, damage boost, crit damage boost. I mean, she's giving a lot of boosts out there. So definitely one reason she's extremely viable. I don't really need to go too much on her because everyone knows how good she is. The other one I want to talk about is Yukong. Now, I'm going to go into Tingyun in a bit and why I don't like Tingyun. But if you take a look at Yukong, because Yukong is an imaginary unit, and so is Dan Heng, and because this light cone is going to increase anyone who has the same damage type by 24%, she is going to give Dan Heng a 24% damage dealt increase just for existing. She's also going to give another 12% here. That's 36% damage buff just for existing. That's a permanent buff. The other thing is, if you keep her as close to Dan Heng as possible in rotation, she's also going to be giving him at end, it's a 60, but when it's fully done, a 90% attack boost, right? So you're getting 36% damage, 90% attack, and then on top of that, a 60, I think, what will be? This will be a 65%, actually, that will go higher, sorry. This will go up, it goes up by 4, we still have 3 levels, like 10 and 12, so 12 more. So this will be a 73% crit damage buff and a 30% crit rate. So she's going to give you, with her ultimate, a full crit rate chance, so you're going to crit no matter what, as well as 73% crit damage. The big thing is her buff is also going to affect Bronya's crit damage that Bronya gives out, because you're buffing Bronya's crit damage, which is going to buff the 16.8% of her crit damage, right? So you're double dipping with Yukong. The other thing is that, I mean, she can keep these damage buffs really well, and her damages are all different. Attack, damage, and a crit damage, and a crit rate. 4 different buffs she's going to be giving, which reduces diminishing returns when you think about it. Now, I am going to talk about Tingyun here. So let's go ahead and get into Tingyun. Alright, Tingyun. Why do I not like Tingyun? Okay, I feel like both Tingyun and Paler are running under what I call the Bennett curse. One person said they were good, one person probably built a specific team, did a fight which exaggerated the numbers, and now everybody jumps on how good Tingyun is. Personally, I do not think Tingyun is that great. I think if you're not running an imaginary team, she is a better buffer than Yukong. But realistically, running Yukong I still think is going to be better because she's still going to give, yeah, you lose that 12% damage buff, but you're still getting crit rate, crit damage, and a bunch of other things. Yukong is definitely going to be harder to build for that. But everyone's talking about energy, like the big thing, oh, she gives energy, she gives energy. If you play Dan Heng IL, if you actually have his light cone, right, Tingyun is not needed. And if you're running Dan Heng with Bronya, even without his light cone, she's not really needed. That is like the only thing she does that I've seen that people are talking about how great she is, that she can give energy. And the thing about it is, if you take a look at the energy she gives, right, she gives 60 energy, right? So she's not even gonna get half of what Dan Heng needs. And it's also connected to her ultimate, which is the issue. Being connected to the ultimate is an issue, because the fact of the matter is, you have to hope that her ultimate is going to be up on time. Now, she does get 50 upon using it. Oh, no. No, this isn't, sorry, this is 50 when she uses her technique, so yeah. So, if you take a look at this here, right? If you take a look at her traces. First of all, her ultimate's going to cost 130. Let's take a look at her traces here. That doesn't matter. Okay, she'll get 5 at the start of her turn. Okay, at 130, that's not very effective. And nothing here is actually buffing her energy recharge. What this means is that Tingyun is going to need to run an ER chain to actually be able to do the ER. Again, the Bennett curse. So we're going to talk about that. She needs an ER chain to have enough, because you have to get her ultimate off to get the buffs off. Without the ultimate, really not that useful. I mean, like, all you're giving is, you know, an attack boost. That's all she's giving, is an attack boost. And that attack boost is only 37, you know, 6 out of 12. I mean, it's going to go up by 3 every time. So if this goes up another 6, that's 18. That means it's going to get at best 55. 55 attack, which, by the way, has a cap due to this little thing here, if people didn't pay attention. Right? So, 55 attack versus her potential 90. Because she gets 5, she has 6 levels left, 5 times 6 is 30, 90. She's going to get 90% attack. Now again, you are going to lose it every time she's wearing bowstrings, but the realistic fact of the matter is, once you get your rotation going with Dan Heng, you can have this up every time before Dan Heng attacks. Pretty much, you use her attack for Dan Heng, you use Dan Heng's triple, you use Brony to bring Dan Heng again, and yeah, he wouldn't get the stack for the second attack, but then he would have Brony's buff, right? So you pretty much rotate between those two buffs. And this 90% attack, again, that's 90% attack, on top of the 12% and the 24% from that light cone that Tingyun cannot give. For Tingyun, it's going to be that 55%, but it's going to be locked at, what is that, 26% of her attack? So the thing is that, you know, you're not even going to get that full attack probably, not unless you have Tingyun built with high. I'm thinking extremely high attack just to make it work. And the thing is that, yeah, I mean, it lasts for 3 turns, so you can use it and then use her normal attack. But realistically, if you know how to run your how to conserve your skills, you're gonna be fine with Dan Heng running Yukong. And I still think that Yukong's passive 12 plus 20, 36 damage is going to be better than what that attack boost is. Especially since you're stacking attack on on Dan Heng anyways, right? You're stacking attack on him anyways. So it really isn't, I mean, like, the damage boost is always going to be better than an attack boost. So the fact that in order to even get the energy boost and the other attack boost, you have to pop her ultimate, you know, isn't as ideal as I think of getting that one huge burst when you pop her ultimate. And the other thing is, let's take a look at the ultimate cost as well. Like, if you take a look at her ultimate, it costs 130, so I think their ultimates are the exact same cost. Yep. She'll gain 5 every turn. But I do believe she has a trace here, right? When you have the Roar Abortions, anyway, she's going to get 2 additional energy every time an ally takes an action, right? So she's going to get 6 energy from that, which isn't the greatest, to be honest. But I do find that her energy doesn't have so much of an issue, and even when it's not ready, it doesn't matter because I can still give myself the huge attack and the passive damage boost. So she's usually pretty fine. And again, if you're switching between her and Bronya, right, when Bronya uses her power ability, right, let's see what her skill out. It is only for 1 turn, right, but you can pretty much rotate off who's getting that damage boost. So in my case, right, when I'm done building correctly, because I got to replace her boots, pretty much Lucha's going to attack first, then the buff, so that's going to be 3, 4, 3, 2, unless I use his ability, which should give me the 3, 1, and then 1. And he should be fine, right? And so that's kind of the ideal there to run with. And because he has 15 energy anyways, he'll probably have an ultimate after that as well. So, realistically, I think you're much better off running the double crit damage. And I will tell you one thing. In Simulated Universe, with the buffs, I've hit over 800 crit damage running this. And I regularly, if you take a look at, like, if I was to go into a damage, right, and you'd see me go in, the biggest thing about running this team build is you're getting a passive, because you're running a support, and they can just run this, you're getting a passive 30% damage, crit damage. Now you could run that on Tingyun as well to get that 30% crit damage as well. She's not Pela, who probably need effect rate or energy recharge. Tingyun could give an extra 10% crit damage. But realistically, she's still not giving a passive 36 damage boost and able to give that crit, that attack boost, that 90% attack boost every time Dan Heng is going to attack. And that's what's going to really matter. So, due to the way that Dan Heng is working, I think the fact that people are running a 4-piece Wanderer set Wastelander set doesn't make sense. I think it's much better to run the Wastelander and the Musketeer set to get a more permanent, constant damage boost. You're already at 70% crit rate, you don't need that extra 10%. The only way you get that 20% crit damage is if you're running Welt. If you're running Bronya, you are getting that defense reduction on 1 character. But if you're running a set of support, you're getting 10% more crit damage, which is, again, a passive constant buff. So, this is just my opinion, though. I mean, people are, you're free to run how you want to run. But I do think that we suffer from an issue where we see a bunch of content creators saying one thing, and then everybody jumps on it. And my Dan Heng he's broken 1 million damage easily in certain events. He broke 2.4, and of course on the first boss, but that, obviously that guy is meant to take a lot of damage when you break the arms. But I've had him break over 1 million in Simulated Universe. So, his damage output is amazingly well. I do think the attack boots are definitely better than speed boots. 100% the attack boots are better than speed boots. Having some effect resistance doesn't hurt as well, just to help prevent him from being CC'd. As you can see here, I have about 19.4, so he does get CC'd, which is good, on top of his trace here, which prevents it as well. So he's got about a 55% chance to avoid that. So, anyways, this is just my take. What do you guys think? Leave in the comments. Do you think that it's best to run the 4-piece Wastelander even though you can't get that 20% crit damage unless you're running Welt? Or do you think it's better to run the 2-piece and then run 2 support units and letting Yukong finally shine in a team that she is going to be broken in? Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for me. Secret True Lane, signing out. You all take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.